From LeBron having to literally restrain his mom, to Gillooly hiring a hitman to murder Nancy Kerrigan, this tea is hotter than what Perez Hilton's serving. These sports stars with crazy relatives have me thanking my stars that I don't have siblings with killer tendencies. Take, for instance, Kamisha Williams. The sister of the LA Clippers' very own Kawhi Leonard is literally rivaling Charles Manson. She was just sentenced to life in prison without any chance of parole. And why, you may ask? Well, brace yourself, because in 2019, she was found guilty of murdering an 84-year-old woman at the Pechanga Resort Casino. But wait, the list goes on. Williams was convicted not only of first-degree murder, but also of robbery and elder abuse. I mean, can you even believe it? I'm just sitting here in disbelief. Now, what happened was that she and an accomplice followed an elderly woman, Afaf Anis Assad, into a bathroom, where they robbed her and left her unconscious. Now, this is a trigger warning, but Assad suffered a fractured skull and eventually died from her injuries a few days later. I mean, what kind of a person does something like that? Fans are now wondering if his sister's sentencing could have something to do with Leonard's absence from the team. The doc says he has a knee injury, but you can't help but wonder if the stress from his sister's crime is taking a toll on him. Leonard, who is known for being a private person, has yet to comment on the situation. All we can do for now is wait and see how this whole thing plays out. But don't think it's only the siblings that are out there tarnishing these sports stars' names. Some mothers also need to tone down their affection. Cue, tough as nails, Gloria James. Now, we all know our mothers are ready to take a bullet for us, but LeBron James' mother tried to take on NBA stars. In a clash between the Celtics and the Cavaliers in 2008, things went a little too far. Paul Pierce, in an attempt to stop LeBron from scoring, literally forced him off the court and into the stands. Now, that got the whole crowd on its feet. This obviously got Gloria all riled up. Kevin Garnett from the Celtics tried to soothe her, but she wasn't having it. And before the ref kicked her out, James did what any son would. He told her to zip it and sit down. As Lamar would sing it, "Sit down, Gloria, be humble." But that wasn't the only time she unleashed her anger. Back in 2011, she went a little berserk at a valet parking attendant. She was staying at Miami Beach's fancy Fontainebleau hotel and had asked her car to be brought to the front while she chatted with her friends. The driver waited 10 minutes, then 20, then called it a day at 30 minutes. He gave the keys to the cashier and went about his day. Now, when Gloria got wind of her keys not being with the driver, she struck him across the face, and that definitely was uncalled for. He called the cops, and they took an intoxicated Gloria James into their back seat and to a cell. But some of these crazy relatives don't get caught till way later. That's right, I'm talking about Jeff Gillooly and his super scary antics. His story is a wild ride, to say the least. This twisted individual, who was once married to former American figure skater Tanya Harding, sunk to a new low by hiring a hitman named Shane Stant to brutally attack Harding's rival, Nancy Kerrigan. Considering that the 1994 US Figure Skating Championships was on the horizon, so the rivalry was crazy, and the goal was to shatter Kerrigan's leg, but Shane only managed to strike her on her lower right thigh. Such a vile act, just for a skating competition, is nothing short of sickening. As if that wasn't bad enough, Gillooly and Harding divorced shortly after the incident. All of this left her with a tarnished reputation that she never could shake off. And get this, a grand jury from the US Figure Skating Association found evidence of Harding being involved in the planning and execution of the attack. Poor Kerrigan couldn't even compete in the US Championship because of what they did, but she managed to recover in time to compete in the Winter Olympics. Even though Harding competed in the Winter Olympics too, she was banned for life from all USFSA figure skating events after that. It's a story that will always be remembered in the world of figure skating. I guess sometimes it's best to leave crazy family out of your professional life, cause J.R. Smith's sister sure as heck needed some grounding. J.R. Smith once made waves in China, but it wasn't because of his mad basketball skills. When he was tied to the Zhejiang Golden Bulls in 2012, his limited number of matches in China brought out everyone's crazy. In a match against Baiyi Rockets, no foul was going to be left unaddressed. As soon as J.R. Smith was fouled and the whistle blew, hell broke loose. Unleashed like a wolf at the sight of a full moon, J.R. Smith's sister took the foul personally. Stephanie threw a bottle on the court and then pulled out her big guns. A trigger warning again, folks. She grabbed an old woman and began choking her, forcing innocent and shocked spectators to intervene. But she wasn't done. She locked her eyes on an 80-year-old gentleman and began assaulting him next. Someone clearly saw too much WWE growing up. Thankfully, someone realized that she had to be stopped. The game came to a grinding halt, and both Smith and his girlfriend jumped in to fan the flames, but don't think she didn't strike again. A few days later, when her brother was playing against Tianjin Ronggang, it took very little to bring out her worst. After J.R. Smith got into a brawl, Stephanie literally overturned a table. Boy, to say his time in China has been controversial is surely an understatement. Speaking of controversy, heard of Brandy Favre? Brett Favre, the former Green Bay Packers star, has a wild horse for a sister. We all know about Brett Favre's Mississippi welfare scandal currently under investigation. But back in January 2011, Brandy came under the spotlight when she was arrested for possession of ingredients to make methamphetamine. She wasn't convicted by the Mississippi grand jury though, cause there wasn't enough evidence available to link her to the crime. I mean, talk about living life on the edge. But if that didn't shock you, maybe the Dwayne versus Siobhan showdown will. This is probably the worst possible lovers to enemies story you'll hear. The two filed for divorce in 2007, and what preceded were nasty court proceedings full of accusations. Funches accused Wade of giving her an STD and demanded a list of all the women he had been with. And as if tarnishing his dignity wasn't enough, she even said he was a terrible father. Yikes. Talk about airing your dirty laundry in public. But here's the kicker. Despite all of Funch's accusations, Wayne ended up winning custody of their children. It just goes to show that even the most high-profile couples can have some seriously messy breakups. And let's be real, nobody wants to be associated with that kind of drama. But sometimes you can't avoid drama even with your own brother. Marcus Vick is a tough act to follow. Brother to former NFL star Michael Vick, Marcus made sure his tomfoolery took his career prospects down. Back when he was playing at Virginia Tech, Marcus took his cleat to Elvis Dumerville's knee during the 2006 Gator Bowl. That's right, he intentionally injured another player for absolutely no reason. Despite having a brief stint with the Miami Dolphins, Marcus's reckless actions ultimately took him out of the football spotlight. He nearly jeopardized Michael's career too. Back in 2010, a shooting broke out at Michael's birthday party and someone got shot. Folks were quick to point a finger at Marcus, but thankfully, it didn't scar his brother's image. It's a shame that his lack of self-control and poor decision-making skills led to the downfall of his career. What followed was more legal trouble. From assault, intoxication, and drug possession, the hits kept coming for him. I just hope he takes a break from wreaking havoc in the future. Well, those were some of the crazy relatives that these sports stars had.